Good. Okay. I'm like, what? All right, bucket bills and something good. I think that would be fun. Besides, we got, we got two males over here. Otherwise, this is like a female crowd today. Anyone else noticing that?
My feminine.
Over on this side.
Yeah, yeah.
You won't notice my wife's dressing because she won't think.
All right, what's good?
Honeymoon phase.
I love
You
it.
guys, if the only thing that's good is that the Wild made the playoffs, we need to start talking about some other things, okay? Which that is awesome, in case you guys didn't know.
My wife had a $5.5 million day the other day.
Sorry, what?
Right?
Like closings? Oh, look at, she just walks in nonchalantly over here.
Yeah, over here, it's the outlet.
That is awesome.
Oh, look at him jump. There you go.
Yeah, put her down right there.
All right, what else? What else we got?
Gotta be more now.
We're going to PV on Saturday to look at another place,
Nice.
make a decision and.
How big's your suitcase? Can you pack me in it? No,
Okay.
Saturday, I actually won't be here. Never mind.
Come down Monday if you want.
Okay, awesome. That's fun. Well, they've got good stuff going on. Anybody else? No?
Well, I just celebrated, well, my wife and I, our 58th wedding anniversary.
Wow.
Meg said it's been the best 10 years of her life.
Well, the last 10?
Yeah,
Oh, they-
well, I think the first 10. Yeah.
I love that.
Our day.
What else? We got other things. I know there's good things going on. Where's some good things?
There's a really good thing happening on Sunday. Just say that.
What else? All right. All right, people.
No bucket bills either.
Bucket fills. Yeah, I mean, either we're really tired or quiet or something. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. If I'm the one that's the most energetic after that game last night, like, you guys need to bring it up a little bit. All right, April training calendar. We've got our R&R today, which is at Kona Grill, 4 to 6. I think what will probably happen, I know that Rick had mentioned a little bit about multiple offers. We're actually talking about that pretty in depth today during our meeting, because I am hearing more and more and more, not just 3 offers. We're talking, to 15 to 10 and things to be able to win that, but it'll probably carry over and have more kind of intimate conversations on that. So that's right across the street, 4 to 6-ish. We will be closed this Friday. So if you have any changes coming up on the MLS or putting, something live on that, please let us know by Thursday afternoon, I believe at around 3 o'clock, so that we are aware of that, right? Because
Let's make it 2. How about 2?
Lydia said, let's make it 2 and she's the boss. So-
7 a.m.
And the real thing here, right, is that we know that there's things that come up, but usually it's just planning, right? So let's just plan for the office is closed on Friday. One person is not here, and we are not gonna be at the same capacity. Any questions around that at all? Okay. Taco Tuesday training, is Eric here?
Don't see him.
Okay, so.
He's out getting tacos.
Right, so this is April 22nd, it is he's having an appraiser come in, and it's kind of the guy that answers all of the questions. And if we all want to be honest right now, appraisals are kind of a hot topic with these multiple offers. When you take a look at them, we see a lot of them coming in, right? We see a lot of the purchase agreements. There are appraisal gaps coming in often. I was talking to someone today and I said, are you seeing anything coming in low? Some people are, some people aren't, right? Majority is coming in right where it's supposed to come in. But I think it's worth the conversation, right? And there's probably other questions. Do you guys have any questions around this at all? You guys know
Please
exactly.
sign up though, because we need to know how many tacos we're ordering. So
Well,
please sign up.
and honestly, signing up for all the classes is really important, right? Because if the night before we have no one signed up for that and someone is usually prepping well before the night before for a class, we know if we're gonna be having it or not, right? Because most of the teachers are also running businesses. And if no one shows up, then they can go about their lead gen or whatever else. So please, please, please make sure that you're signing up. Colleen, you had a question.
Well, my question for an appraiser to answer would be, what can we do to prep our listings for that appraiser to come in? Like, is there is there information we can put out for them that's helpful?
Awesome.
And where's that line? What is offensive?
Great question.
And yeah, that's an awesome question. Anything else? Any other questions around this? All right. Okay, so stop this for a second. So I think last week I made myself very clear with a lot of passion on how much all of you should be at Phil Jones, right? I wish Pete was in here because I said, hey, Pete, did you sign up? He's like, well, after last week's meeting, I felt like I had to. I said, well, good, I did my job. But what I want to clarify is there are a lot of trainings. There are a ton of trainings that we give, right? We are a training company. There are some that are free. There are some that cost money. I'm going to be completely honest. There's not a whole lot of participation in most of the trainings. So unless I'm looking at a crowd of people that are like, know everything about everything in real estate, we should be showing up to these things, right? And the one thing that I get a lot of requests about are, I don't know how to handle a subjection, or I feel uncomfortable on a listing appointment when this comes up, or man, I don't know what to say about the market, right? There's a lot of different things that we don't have the tools for. And Phil Jones is one of those people that is going to give you tools. A lot of people say, hey, I've seen him before. You've seen him for 45 minutes on stage with 15,000 other people, most likely, right? This is a very intimate training for him. It's 300 or less people for interaction with him for 3 to 4 hours in a day. It's a remarkable opportunity. So with that, he has put together a video just for this specific training.
For the first time ever, for an exclusive group of people helping you know exactly what to say in the moments that matter. You know as well as I do, in the world of real estate right now, it isn't just effort, hard work, product knowledge that's going to help you stand out. It's having the right words at the right time. It's knowing how to step into every one of those interactions with past clients, with prospects, with family, friends, and your sphere at large. And knowing what to say, when to say it, and how to make it count is the differentiator between a good year and a great year. So the chance for us to be able to roll our sleeves up together, go to work, empower you with the skills, the tools, the frameworks to make more of those moments matter in your world is something I cannot wait to get started on. It's going to be an impactful group of people, professional agents that care about what winning looks like in 2025. And I know the market's challenging, which means that I want you to win more than your fair share. If you're keen to understand exactly how to do that, join us for the general session. Want to take it one stage further and get immersive and build a practical action plan, learn tools to elevate your conversational practice, maybe grab a high five, an autograph, a book or two, then join us in the VIP session too. I cannot wait to be able to meet you in person. I'm excited to be able to go to work in a part of the country that I love and adore, and I cannot wait for us to make magic together. See you guys soon.
I can listen to that every year. No, but to be fair, I think at one point when I saw him, he was like, I think he said, he was like, I should just go out and sell real estate, because people were like, he called some people out in the crowd, right? I mean, that would have been terrifying at Mega Camp, by the way. And it was a top producer, like someone that had been on stage and he had no idea what to say. And Phil just took it like a chance, like he just went on with the script, right? He doesn't sell real estate, but I was like, I'd buy something from him. So anyone have a change of heart? We have a few tickets left. in a 10-pack that we bought. So it's $10 less. It's $189.
I'm buying another 10-pack.
John is buying another 10-pack for us and you guys to,
Get going here.
join us. So,
Left in the first 10-pack.
well, maybe only one. After- We got 0 left in the first 10-pack. So we have 10 other tickets that are left in the second 10-pack. I really, really, really do wish that we had a lot more people going to this. And again, if it becomes a monetary issue, right, which I totally get it, please come talk to me, right? Because we can make something work on that, because I think it's that valuable.
The VIP, can you just tell me the difference between the general and VIP?
The VIP is $4.99. So you have coffee with him in the morning, you do the general session, and then the afternoon you work one-on-one with him. I mean, it's like 50 people that are in it, I think, 75 people that are in that. And he's gonna work through conversations with you on a one-on-one basis. All right. Show of hands, who's potentially thinking about going to this?
I love him and my
Oh, 1, 2. Wait, if you already signed up, though, put your hand down.
family camp, I wrote the full like 45 minutes. He's still.
You guys, this makes me so happy.
Madison,
And my stress level just went down.
Like,
What?
Put your hand up. You're
I did like Marine's hand. It was like.
It was kind of like one of these.
Change an appointment.
Any other questions around this?
How many hours is it?
Or what
Time.
time does it start?
8:30 for the.
8:30 to 12:30 for the morning session, and then the afternoon session, I believe there's lunch included, and then it goes kind of like get lunch, and then you work until I think 4 o'clock.
So
4:30.
should we purchase tickets through you?
If you are doing just the general session, please email me because we'll buy the actual packet, and then we'll just have you charged through the office at that point, so you can get the discounted price. Fair? Just put in there Phil Jones, and then I'll get the list together. Awesome? All right. Red Day.
Oh, yay, Red Day. May 8th, approximate times will be 8:30 to 2:30. This year, we're gonna go with Interfaith Outreach. They have a number of different projects. I don't know which one we're necessarily gonna be doing, but they serve over 200 families in the West Metro a week. Whether that's with like helping with housing stipends, food support, or within their resale store. And so I will see which project I'll probably know by next team meeting, which projects they have open for us, but they're in Plymouth, so they're close to us too. And we can really make an impact for people in the Western metros that need some help,
So even though we don't know what we're actually doing yet, it's gonna be between 8:30 and 2:30, so please block that off on your calendar if you would like to volunteer. It is really fun, actually. It is super fun, no matter what we're doing. I mean, last year it was what, buckthorn and who knows what else was in there, right? And mulching, yeah. I mean, it's also just a time to get to know each other, right? And you're helping out the community. And it's really truly what this whole business is about, right? It's about people and helping people.
Can you remind me what Red Day is and why we do it?
Oh, John, do you want to speak to that? I feel like you're passionate in this
Well, yeah,
aspect.
a Red Day was actually started, I mean, how many of you know who Mo Anderson is? You all should. She's really the kind of the backbone behind Gary getting Keller Williams where it is today. It's kind of to celebrate her birthday, but it's a way for us as a market center to get out and help our own community, show how we at Keller really do other things than just sell real estate. It's been a passion of the whole company for years, so. it's
Well,
a
and
fun
Mo
thing.
is so passionate about giving back, right? We all can have really big lives, but it's even more fun when you can give back with that big life that you're already living. And so for her, this is one of those things, right? Is giving back to the community with time, right? Versus just a monetary give back.
We'll guarantee you'll have a little fun.
Oh,
I'll
it's
be
so
there.
much fun.
One shift.
Don't know, because we don't know what the actual project, I mean, what the projects are yet, which once that's decided, we can.
Is it inside or outside? Do you know that?
I don't know exactly. It might be inside. There's a chance we'll be doing some landscaping stuff around their housing units as well. But I'm not sure where we'll be yet.
Outside.
Probably
is so
outside of it.
great.
Probably outside of it's raining and inside of it's gonna be 80 and sunny.
I mean, any project we can probably take outside.
Yeah.
I mean, if we want to.
And no matter what, we can eat lunch outside. So like, we're gonna eat outside no matter what. How about that?
Right.
Any other questions around it?
I was just gonna say, one of my really good friends works at the store.
Oh,
there. It's
awesome.
Really nice, yeah.
Awesome.
So-
That's super cool. Love that. I'm excited. I always have a lot of fun that day. All right.
Oh, so these next three are about the CE that's coming up May 6th. So May 6th, we have two opportunities for CE. It's a Tuesday. The first one's 11 to 12:30. We will have lunch here. The second CE starts from 1 to 3. So put those in your calendars. You can definitely get some more CE there. And then we also have a virtual CE coming on May 22nd. I'll post all of these out here later today. That one will be from 1 to 3. That one will be online. So either way, in May, another opportunity to get a bunch of free CE. So please join us for that.
Awesome.
Which one of those the 5 we took, did you say wasn't?
Yes. So yeah, for those of you who did not join us last week, unfortunately, one of the classes did not meet the credits. It was economist of choice. And so we did rally together and found a virtual CE that our agents can also take for free. So yeah.
Cool.
Also, who just learned about this? That didn't count. That meant you didn't read your email. Anyway. No.
This is Keely.
No, so what happened though, to give you a little background, is the course had actually just expired, right? The great thing about it is I think there was so much value in that particular class, that it was not a waste of anyone's time. Like, it was a great class. Yeah.
131.
Can I say that I might have read the email too fast? So that being said, if you are looking at your credits, which usually you don't do until about June 10th, that one will not be in there. So sign up for some of the other ones that are available. And our sincerest apologies on that piece.
It was valuable. It was good.
Yeah, so this is you.
Good
Do
afternoon.
you want to come up here?
Go to
Do you
the
want,
afternoon.
you want to stand back?
Okay.
Either one, whatever you feel comfortable with.
With profile, we're gonna do a class on net sheets. It's the quote tool that we have. So if you want to master your listing appointments and help your clients even in a greater way, join us on May 20th.
And guess what? For you to get paid, you need to have a net sheet for your sellers anyways. So this is a really great tool and opportunity to have it at your fingertips, rather easy. Kevin, how many people don't have their net sheets in usually?
It's one of the most common things missing.
Here's the thing though.
And just to say, your net sheet should be at the front of your transaction, not at the end when the Alta is already out. So that's a thing. And just someone that's been rejected by John several times, an Alta does not count as a net sheet.
Here, like when you're winning and like you have multiple offers, right? Do we show them what their net is after those offers? I would hope so, right? So just because you have one offer doesn't mean that they shouldn't know what their net is, right? Like when an offer comes in, that should just be part of your presentation. In the past, I didn't do it either, so we're just gonna all get better at that. Jelena.
To clarify, it is required for the listing documents, and then it is required again under contract, and those technically then should be different, right? With the course and the same one be.
So we require it one time, but yes, you're right. You should, when you take your listing presentation, you should give a potential net sheet, right? And the good thing is it helps you ask the questions like, how much do you owe on this property? Just one loan, okay, if we sell it for this, here's kind of that projected net. That kind of makes it so when you get to closing and they go, wait a minute, right? You've already put your commission in, they have a process, they understand the whole way. Then then you can give them a net sheet with, hey, here's the offer that you're gonna select, or all the offers that came in. Now here's how that plays out. That's great too. It protects you through the big surprises that can come along the way, and also the more they see your commission in there already, it's better. Like, hey, we've talked about this, we're not fighting about it, we're just moving forward. So
And I can tell you that over the years that I've been involved, we've had several arbitrations or lawsuits. And luckily, in every case, we brought in a net sheet that, here's the most important part, the seller signed,
right.
and every one of them were thrown out. So it's a really, really important document.
On that note, we have a great training on that.
Now you're coming up.
No, sorry.
So spring market is here, and we're feeling the momentum too. And deals are rolling in, we're moving fast, and our team can handle that. So we just want you to know that we are rolling. And then I just want to touch a little bit on Ron. Do you guys know a lot about Ron signing? Yeah? You know, like what's needed for Ron signing? Things to prove it? Okay.
I'm gonna go with no.
Okay.
I'll go with no.
So your closer has to be certified. Mel is certified. Buyers, sellers, and borrowers can use the platform. It is a secure video conferencing site. It's not just Zoom. So it is a site that we pay for. Something important with that is your closer is actually on the other side. So Mel would be on that video conferencing with your client, still giving that last touch point, still being able to answer the questions. Sometimes it's just a Minnesota notary other title companies use, and they are not licensed to answer the question on the end of the year. Really cool of it. No travel required, like scheduling, obviously make sure that is a good choice for your client. Are they good with it? It's not hard, but are they okay with technology? And just kind of brief them that they ask questions, kind of like a 401k. So free to hard to drive, things like that. And then just make sure that it is lender approved. So that's to make sure that it qualifies.
I'll just say something too. I've had agents, can I join? There is no link to join. You have to come into my office and sit next to me if you want to be in on the Ron. Rick knows that. Rick sat with me once. That was the first agent that's ever sat in on one. But just so you guys are aware.
So speaking of net sheets, you guys want to faster?
Yeah.
No, we didn't. Then just skip to the end. So we call this our secret weapon. So it's our quote tool. So we are doing the class. I believe there's one. So if you guys haven't seen our quote tool yet, there's QR codes all over about it. I'll pull them up, but like you were saying, you flip different scenarios, different seller concessions, things like that. And it is really important because when I was just doing a video on it the other day and I forgot one of the commissions to put in when I was making my video, and that end number looks wildly different. So you don't want to surprise your clients with that, but it's very helpful, that bottom line in multiple different scenarios. Where's about? Okay, so last thing, we want to hear from you guys. So everyone take out your phones.
All of a sudden, everyone isn't on their phone.
Yeah. Hold on, but so go to Instagram, and then you're gonna go to Great North Title. And then just for little funsies, you're gonna follow. But On the story, there's gonna be a questionnaire. What do you guys want to learn more about? What do you guys want to hear from us? We want to hear from you. We want to teach you things that you guys are interested in, and that is one thing that we kind of pride ourselves on is resources and education. So let's hear from you guys. If you can take the poll, go ahead and skip through my first video. There should be 3 on there, but it's the last one. And if you guys could take that poll, guys, what do you want to know about?
Thank you.
Awesome, thank you.
Great. We took a vote last week about getting more listings. And yet I also think, and we chatted about that a little bit. I think that the other topic, which is multiple offers, is incredibly important on both sides, right? So this is an interactive part of the meeting, right? Number one, we want to go through everything in a multiple offer situation that can help you and your client win the offer. So I would love perspective from people that work with sellers and buyers, right? Because when you're working with a seller and you get multiple offers, I'd love to be able to share with everyone, what are you looking for, right? On a generalized scale for that seller. And then as a buyer's agent or working with buyers, what are you doing in your offers to stand out against 10 other offers? What are we gonna start with? What are some of the things on an offer that's important during a multiple offer situation?
Price, high price.
Oh, why do I pick this one every time?
I mean, you gotta be the highest sale, right?
Price, okay?
Appraisal coverage.
Look at you from the back over there. Okay, what else?
Approval letters.
I usually call and talk to the selling agent. And then I have my lender call and tell them how amazing my people are and that they're actually gonna close.
We have a why accept an offer from BNG sheet that we include with all our offers that talks about our title team, our transaction team, our close ratio each year. Okay.
Few more in there, contingencies. I'll just put that in like a.
Like a delayed possession. It's not something I love, but something that when in multiples, the winning offer sometimes.
I like 4 S's.
And just to piggyback off of Colleen, I think the most important aspect is to be the realtor that they want to work with. That the terms are important, but as long as you are in their mind, the realtor that they want to work with, that's really what matters.
I want to make it easy for them to choose you.
Okay, what else?
I was just gonna say on that, my buyers are under contract for a home where the listing agents were saying to me, do you realize you're the only offer that came in where the agent called it? And they said they felt like that had gone out the window and they were like, it's just so nice talking to you. And
It's gone out the window. Let's be really real, like. Do you not call the listing agent when you're making an offer? Yes. Okay, well then we are like the only office that does that because I hear that so often that like, we didn't even get a call, we just got an offer sent in.
But more importantly, when you're in a listing, you're going to a listing that you know is gonna go into multiples. Calling the agent when you're doing the showing and building that relationship, friendship up front. So you're already complimenting them on the listing and the pictures and everything else, you build a relationship. Now, when you're in the multiple offer situation, you're the one with a little bit more rapport than the next agent, which is so huge. Call the agent, say, hey, I just set up a showing, really excited to see a property. What can you tell me about the house that I need to show off that you really think is a selling point to this house?
Hey, what else?
Question on that point, what if the listing agent doesn't answer their phone? Like, how many times is too many times to call?
The limit does not exist.
Look up their address.
Show them at their office.
Look up their address, show up their door, say, hey.
I mean, in that sense, like, would you, I mean, at least text it, leave them a message, like, hey, I left you a you know what I mean? Like, I feel like, in my opinion, if you're attempting to communicate with them, then that's on them to not communicate back, right? But, okay, what else?
Text possible cash offer text, they'll call you immediately.
If someone doesn't answer my call, I rarely leave a voicemail. I just text and have to say, I have something to talk to you about. Can you call me when you're free?
Okay.
I don't listen to my voicemail.
Did we miss anything?
Gonna say another thing, I mean, and maybe I have not been in the business long enough to know if this is the norm or if this is not the norm, but it seems like what's gone out the window is when you say, you know, hey, let us know, you know, my clients are really interested in the property. Please let us, you know, do you have any offers in? No, we don't have any offers in hand, but we have a lot of interest. Okay, well, will you circle back with us? You know, if anything comes in, oh, absolutely, we'll circle back with you. And then your clients tell you that they were scrolling on their phone, you know, the night before and it's already under contract.
Do not ever leave someone in, like, responsible for circling back with you, right? Because I think if you have a listing that a lot of people are interested and you have an offer that comes in and your seller's like, let's accept it, number one, you can accept that, right? Number two, unless you made an impression on them, a lot of times if they have multiple listings, that's not their own, you know what I mean? They're like, I don't remember which agent called about which property. And I mean, let's just be honest, we don't know how to track our lead gen. We definitely aren't tracking who's showing our properties and who called us. Can we be fair on that? Right? Like that's one where I don't think no matter when it's been, that's a tough one to, you know, if this listing agent has 10 different properties and they're all going into multiples, you're like, well, which one did they call in on again? Right? Like they should, but I don't think they do. Right? What else?
Hi, this is Carla.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Hi. Hi, I think it's also important when you do have multiples that you treat even second and third offers that you might have selected the first one. You stay in touch with them and keeping them apprised, because I've had situations where the first offer falls through and the second or third are like, yeah, they haven't purchased another property. And so just keeping that communication, not like every day, but just like keep them posted that we're still going forward, or it looks like it might fall through. Are you still interested?
Awesome.
The buyer side too.
Yeah. What else? Are we missing anything? Has anyone done anything different in a multiple offer situation to win it?
Love letters are bad, but you can throw them in if you.
On the buy side, on the sales side, sure, but.
I was really hoping nobody wanted that one, but
Love letters are bad.
tell us more about that, broker.
Well, because almost every love letter breaks the fair housing rule. And so by putting them in there, you're at risk of facilitating that. They should not do that.
I had somebody write a love letter that I don't broke fair housing.
Well, sure, if you put exactly what the property, if this appeals to my buyer, but as soon as you put marriage status or familial status.
I mean, the reason that you put a love letter is because you're trying to hit their heartstrings on all of the things, like, you know, that they raised their family there, and then all of a sudden you're like, we have 3 children and they can't wait to like climb on that tree, just like your kids.
But you
did."
could say like where you work,
You know,
What's that?
you could say where you work. Because I could say like, I work at Target, I could be like a cashier, or I could work corporate, like that wouldn't hint one way or another.
Well, here's the
And if
challenge
they,
on
you knew that
on-
they worked there or something.
on the listing side and what you're exposing your clients to is if you're in multiple offers and they don't select an offer, and in that you discovered, hey, there's something that was released about whatever protected class in any way, they're putting at risk of a lawsuit. Hey, I'm gonna sue you because you knew something about us and you chose not to work with us. You're discriminating against us.
let's be really honest. Our sellers are already looking all of your buyers up on Facebook and Instagram and all of those places and seeing if they like them or not. They don't need a love letter. Like, how many times do you get there and they already have the offer, like, oh, yeah, no, such and such is actually mutual friends with my friend, and they go to school, like, the world of social media already allows them to do the things they're not supposed to do anyways. Like, you don't need the love letter for that to necessarily happen.
You know, if you, rather than a love letter, if you submit a bet sheet, like, here's kind of what my offer, that's probably better, right? Or the transaction, those are all better.
A lot of people, or not a lot necessarily, but I've noticed a lot of people specifically requesting no love letters. And so if you think people, even if they don't request that in the agent remarks, if you don't want to send a love letter, but say, hey, we're not going to send you one of those things. We're just going to, because we don't want to put you guys in that position. So, clarifying, hey, this is our offer. We're not going to bother with that because it's just putting your sellers in a weird spot. And I think that goes a longer way than the respect of that goes a longer way than trying to butter up to them.
What about escalation clauses?
Ooh, that is such a hot topic. Because I think people either love them or hate them. And it's a pretty hard boundary. Anything else on the list? Because then we're gonna go into detail on the things that we just listed.
I have a really quick question. If nobody's making phone calls to the listing agent, how are they finding out how much they're paying out?
They don't, they just put it in an
Are you
offer. It's
serious?
So frustrating, yes.
Which, by the way, to be fair, I don't think most agents on the other side know that there's a broker, like a form, a broker comp that you're supposed to sign, and they just tell you to write it in the purchase agreement.
It's one or the other.
Which that's not actually how it's supposed to be, correct me if I'm wrong. If you have it in your listing document, you're supposed to have a buyer broker comp form done, not on the PA, correct?
Say that again.
If you take a listing for X% and it's paying both you and the buyer's broker.
Right.
You were supposed to have a buyer broker compensation form signed by me, my brokerage, and the other brokerage. It's not supposed to be 2.7 on the purchase agreement, because on the purchase agreement, that line actually says, in addition to what the buyer broker already agreed to.
Yeah.
So you really could get paid 5.4.
Yeah, so
That's never gonna happen, though. Nobody's gonna go
No,
sign
but
a
that's what
buyer
you're supposed
broker
to write
comp,
it,
and then
though.
nobody's gonna put it in the PA. No listing agent's gonna make that mistake.
the challenge will be is if you communicated that you are paying part of your commission, right? Already out, and you've already communicated that, you've written it somewhere, people see it, and then you get an additional spot. You are responsible, you're responsible for paying out your side, and the seller is responsible for paying out their side. right? If you've already communicated it in writing is what I was, the challenge is, I understand why people are putting it on the PA, and Tony was saying, you know, you could just adjust your listing side agreement, right? You wouldn't have to counter, you would have to help your client understand, hey, this is how we're doing it, which is fine as long as you haven't communicated to that person already, because sometimes the buy side will want both. Let's say you're paying out 2% and they're under the contract with their client for 3.5%, and they were at 1.5% on that PA. They want both of those pieces. There's a gap. They don't have to take what you're paying out. They're taking what their client has offered to pay them and want your side to compensate that with you and your seller. So that's why it's really important to have clarity on how things are getting paid out. Some brokerages have just gone and said, we're gonna do everything on the PA, which makes clarity. And sometimes I've had people call from our brokerage and say, hey, their brokerage says they're not allowed to take buy commission, so how do we switch that? It's just being really clear on how you're paying. We want to give you the flexibility to do that with whatever, but it's really clear that you understand what the other side is, what you are paying out to the other side, and how that's happening between you, our brokerage, right? Which is the co-op, saying you're paying that much, and the PA is saying the seller is paying that much.
Can a brokerage really tell you that they are not allowed to take a co-broker commission? Like, that's not a thing.
And I've totally thrown Kevin under the bus and said, I am so sorry. My broker said I gotta do it this way.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
Roll back over. Sorry.
I mean, if they want to write it on the, I don't think any brokerage is gonna reject money coming to them, right? So it's just how much do you want to fight it, and how much do you want to simplify it to bring it onto the PA and have a conversation with you.
I did write once, and like, what is that section line 460 or 468 where there's like a blank? And I just put, buyer's agent will receive a total of, I think it was 2.7 from any source. I don't know how I worded it.
Could you put in other, like, on that and just say, if 2.7 is requested on the purchase agreement, I will not be sure. I mean, like, is that, you just put it there and versus amending it?
Yeah, it's just clarity, right? That's what the whole thing is about, is clarity. The challenge on the purchase agreement, according to attorneys, is that is a agreement between seller and buyer, and agent is not in there at all. So what that should do to our agent commission should be on the purchase agreement. So that's the rub. But putting anything that refers back to,
Well, they created the mess, so.
yeah.
That's
poorly
a
written
question.
down.
I was gonna say, my last listing, it was coming in wrong with every offer that was coming in, to the point where then I had to modify my listing agreement, because even if I was sending the cooperating form, they were still putting it in as asking the 2.7. So now with another listing I've got coming up, I was just like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not, like, I'm stressing to my seller, you want to pay that out or it's going to reduce your pool of buyers. Like, so I'm making sure that that component is still on the listing agreement, but not as a co-op, because it was so frustrating.
I don't know that comment is so much necessary or helpful, or one of the reasons the lawsuit did happen.
Okay.
What you pay out is not supposed to be we're gonna attract more buyers this way, right? Because that's why they've taken the advertising of that commission away. Because we are as agents are not supposed to be motivated that way to show or help people find houses. So I don't know if that's super important. In some ways, doing the PA, simply doing the PA, allows for, and not doing the co-op allows for some maybe better negotiation to have, especially in multiples, I understand that we want to make sure that we get paid on our side too, but one of the things that people have said, I think Tony, you called me one time and an agent said, yeah, we're paying out 3%, put it on the PA. Well, that's a silly thing to do. You shouldn't, because the PA is where you negotiate your spot. So you don't want to tell people this is what we're paying out, just put it on the PA. Like, I think it was you, Tony. You're like, I didn't even charge that much, right? So you
Yeah.
got to raise by going on that spot. So,
Yeah, it was kind of an odd
yeah,
situation.
it's kind of, yeah.
I mean, my response to any agent asking, you know, are you paying out a commission? I just say, well, write what you're requesting in the PA and we'll deal with it when the time comes. You know, regardless of whether I charged it in listing commission, because I'm always including it in listing commission. But then if I have an opportunity for the seller, like if I included 2.7 in my listing agreement, but then I've got a buyer's agent like, hey, you know, would you be willing to take 2.5? You know, in our negotiation, then I just save the seller some money. Or I gave myself a
Maybe this all goes back to, we're gonna get back to multiple offers, because I can tell that maybe we just need a class on how to write that part of the PA. And I'll also resend out the 3 scenarios that we went through when all of this was happening, right? On how to write what in where and whatnot. Everything's negotiable. So I know that we all have our feelings on this, but your commission is negotiable, right? So if it is on the PA or not on the PA, it's still negotiable, right? Like, even if it's on the broker comp. So it does make sense, quite honestly, because just like you said, well, that's not what I'm charging. Great, you got extra on that, right? And you get to write that on there. But, and then back to your point, it's communication. You have no idea if you're getting paid or not at all, unless it's your buyer who they have to pay you because you have a buyer rep that says that they're gonna pay you, right? So it's your job as a buyer's agent to say, okay, is my buyer paying me this? Or are we writing this on the purchase agreement?
The reality of the situation is most buyers won't pay the fee. No matter what, they're not gonna pay it. If it's not included from the seller, they're not gonna write a check for it. No way. On most deals.
Heard from the source.
I mean, that is not on the list up there of stuff with multiples. Has anybody come up on that?
And what?
Like, that there is. There.
Going
up
like you
against
could
with
lose the
multiple-
deal because you're putting a 3% commission in the PA and someone else is putting in 2.5 and.
So agent
So
commission, if you want to think on it.
Agent commission could be a negotiating.
Seller's responsibility for agent. commission.
Because their net sheet would be more with the agent that's taking less.
Right, shouldn't we be calling prior to
Correct.
taking them for showing, and we
You should.
we should be allowing our buyer to know if it's being offered for that?
Well, you're assuming, right, when you put it on the, or it's like, this is what I'm getting paid. You're assuming when you just put it on there and you send a purchase agreement, right? Kevin, if you
Since
don't call.
Since you asked if I was gonna be here, can I take 3 things on that side and just do a broker thing on 3 of those things? Like, she said yes, thank you. One.
You're already in negotiation. Who's on that one?
Remember the disclosures that we give in the front end? One of them says you should always get an inspection. So if your clients are gonna waive inspection and not do it, it doesn't help to have clarity on, I've been advised to do an inspection and I'm choosing not to do it. An agent should never tell a client, don't do an inspection. That will get, if something goes wrong, you're gonna get sued and you will lose because, that's one of the things.
Do we have a form that says I've been informed of the inspection and I have chosen to waive it?
Yeah,
Do we have a form like that?
So it's on our front disclosure, right? But if they choose to waive it, we don't have a form necessarily, but you want it in a written form, like a text. I know you think I should get an inspection, I'm choosing not to do so, right?
For your protection, you get an inspection form.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm saying like, because a lot of times when that comes up, it's like, well, no one told me. It's like, well, yeah, I gave you this, but.
There's a couple things we gotta put back in there's a folder on the MLS called KWLM or something. That we have to put a couple things back on. One is the inspection, we'll put that on. I choose to waive the inspection, against the advice of my agent or something, okay? The other one, yeah, whatever that might be, yeah. That's why I said we'll put it there. The other is appraisal. again, I understand you want to help your clients get the deal, but you don't want to advise them into things that could hurt them, right? So, putting in an appraisal, especially if you're writing an appraisal, being very.
Appraisal gap is what he's talking
Appraisal
about.
gap, or yeah, is to be very clear with, well, my client is willing, comfortable to this price. If there's a bigger price difference, then what happens, right? Also, verifying with their lender on the front end that this is a possibility for them, so that you're not writing an agreement that couldn't even happen, right? Oftentimes the appraisal will come in, we know that, but that gap is, we also know it helps get deals closed. But you want to be careful on how you advise and the language that you do. We do have that form. I just sent some language to Kami this morning. So we had that back in 2021 when things got really crazy. So you might have it already. So that's another one that we want to be on. And then, what's that?
Well, we've got inspection,
Yeah.
we've got appraisal.
Oh, yeah.
What else do you want?
Another one is,
Three.
I know.
You got 2 more minutes.
The other one is possession date. And possession date is something that you want to make sure you have additional language with before you allow someone to move into or stay in a house that they no longer own. Your clients need to understand when that home closes, they own the property and everything that goes wrong with it. And so if there isn't language in there, the people move out, they destroy everything. That could be a challenge for your clients that now own the property and the sellers didn't do a good job. So make sure, remember, you're looking out for the best interest for your clients, which is more than just close the deal. It's how do we close this deal where it's going to benefit you from some negative challenges maybe in it.
These are great points. Where do we find this information in the cloud? Because like, I think if many people are like, well, what language do I need in here to protect my, you know what I mean? Whoever it is, right?
Yeah,
So where can we find that?
Well, I have it in different places, but we'll gather it and try to put it into our KWLM folder and just things that you then can attach as attachments to your file.
Can we put you can put those in the clause section, right? And share the clauses.
You can use a rent back.
You can use a rent back as well.
Yeah,
yeah.
the rent back agreement is the one that often used for that, right?
Okay.
No, that's it. That's it.
Okay. Let's go to communication. So I want to go through each one of these because this is a really broad list, right? So I wish Jose was still here. He has like 3 questions that he always asks. So when you communicate with, like, that's the start of it, right? Before you're even writing the offer, what are things that you guys do as agents to set yourself apart with the listing agent while writing a multiple offer? Do you have specific questions? Do you have, like, what do you do?
Likely be in touch and communicate ahead of time verbally.
Okay.
I always express how excited my clients are about the house, how much they really like it. That motivation goes a long ways.
Yeah, ask the listing agent if the seller's asking for anything specific.
Okay. Okay, what else?
I think one of the things is match the agent on the other side. Like I've had some people that have called and then been like ticked off that they weren't, their offer wasn't received from different brokerages. And the other agents say they just came in too intense. They were trying to steamroll, and other sides are, well, I don't think they're taking me seriously, right? So to match the intensity or to match the style of the person who the listing agent is, to communicate in a way that they're going to receive it well, it's important.
I always ask is there something that matters to your seller about closing date or
So like
do they want a quick close or do they need?
Anyone ask if there's offers?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
How many?
do you have in hand?
Or what's the interest been in the house too?
I mean, can we be fair? Kevin, close your ears. I mean, how many listing agents are like, oh yeah, lots of people interested, people have been circling around, right? Like, there's one. But they don't really, I mean, or am I wrong on that? You guys don't do that? You don't ever do that?
Well, I find it easier to be,
The moment you get a maybe on that feedback, you're like, we got an interested client. Definitely. Don't tell me you don't, because I know you do.
find it easier to make sure it's just kind of black and white, because if you ask those specific questions, like how many offers do you currently have in hand? They have an option to be ethical or not, and if they're ethical, they're gonna answer honestly. And the
Yep.
second question is, how many agents have reached out suggesting they're going to be putting an offer together before the deadline? Obviously, you gotta ask, is there an established deadline for best and final?
Okay, anything else?
I don't know if it's right, but I always ask, do I need to be north of, and then I put a price?
And then yes, from the broker.
By the way, this is information that's not helpful to share about that, right? However, for your buyer, you want to do the best, which ask, hey, what price do I need to come in to get this deal secured? Right? If they're willing to share, it's great.
Then, because I remember when I started out, I was specifically told that if you're gonna say something like that from the seller's perspective, you're representing the seller, you tell one agent, if you go 450, you'll get the deal. But then you either need to do that for one person or everybody, so.
Well, you
is
should
that
do
what
it
you're
for
saying?
anybody, by the way, without permission.
Well,
As
that's-
a listing
I'm
agent.
saying as a
I'm saying-
listing agent, it doesn't help your seller to give that information.
Yeah.
So don't, but as a buyer, it helped to ask, why not ask, hey, how do we get this deal done?
There are plenty of agents out there that do not abide by that rule. And if you say, hey, if I come in here, what are my chances? Or what do I need to be at? And they will say, blah, 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 blah. Right? Like,
Yeah.
no, you're not supposed to. But as a buyer's agent, you can ask whatever you want. It's their choice to answer the question.
Well, I think it's also important to remember that in the event your seller gives you permission to disclose the terms of other offers, you therefore have permission to disclose the terms of other offers. So if there's certain circumstances where you feel like, wow, I should really, have an opportunity to present something back to the specific buyer's agent, ask the seller if that's appropriate based on your negotiating technique, and if they say yes, and you're totally clear.
And at that
Reverse
point,
offers,
you have
yeah,
to
they-
share it with every agent, or can they specifically, a seller, say you can only share it with one agent?
Um,
Oh, what about the three things
the challenge is there's like, John, how would you answer this question? I would say your
Sounds like
loyalty,
you don't say anything.
your loyalty is to your client, right? That's the loyalty that you want to make sure that you give the best to your client. Professionally, we have codes, standards that we, apply to realtors, right? And so the information, like, we cannot lie, right? That's an ethical thing. You cannot lie. You can say, I'm not gonna share that information, right? That's something you are allowed to say. So, John, how would you answer that question? You've
You've been talking so long, I can't even remember what the question was.
I'm so glad for that.
Actually, the best thing to do is each individual offer, ask your seller again, you want me to disclose something to this buyer? You want me to disclose something to that buyer? You just have to follow every step that your seller as long as it's legal, that your seller tells you to do.
Well, I think, and part of that too is if your seller says there's we're gonna review, this has happened. We're gonna review offers at noon on Sunday, and an offer comes in that they're like, I'm ready to accept. That seller can accept that offer. And usually, I mean, I've had agents call me and they light up the listing agent, right? They are so mad at that listing agent. That listing agent doesn't need to do anything for you, right? And you think that they don't feel uncomfortable that they just had to accept this and tell 8 other people no, right? Like, we really need to be in relationship with other agents, and we need to be in communication, Because instantly we get upset because we also haven't told our buyers that, right? How many of you tell your buyers, yeah, there's offer is gonna be in at 11, but they can accept an offer prior to 11 if it's how many of you actually inform your
I do
buyers of
that.
that?
That's what I was gonna say.
Like,
They can accept it anytime, but
they
this
can
is what they're
accept it any
saying.
time, just because it says that's when they're reviewing, it needs to be in by that time, that doesn't mean that they can't do what they want before that, and guess then who gets in trouble? You do as an agent, right?
Well, so if you have a buyer that obviously is very, very interested in the property and calling the seller's agent and asking him, hey, is there a number that your seller would put this deal together right now? My buyer is very qualified, blah, blah. Would you be willing to send me a reverse offer?
That too.
Send me the number, send me the terms, send me everything they want with their signature. Go the other way.
And let's go back to this real quick on communication, because we got sidetracked a little bit. How many of us know though, that piece? Because I think it's really important right now with multiple offers, because people are also putting time limits on their offers, right? Like, hey, this expires at X. How many of you guys actually know that they can choose an offer at any point in time, even if multiples are called by a certain date and time? Did we all know that? Are we all informing our buyers of that every single time? Yes or no? Saying that because I just asked the question. Okay, thank you, Jelena. Because we have to tell everybody every situation, otherwise it's gonna come back, right? So goes back to communication, not just with that other agent, right? It goes back to with our clients as well. What else on communication?
What, do they have a payout? How do I get paid on this?
I was gonna say, when submitting the letter, I mean, the offer, not only having, the terms of the offer listed in your cover letter, but I always say, I always give some fluff in that cover letter about, it's gonna be a smooth transaction and these are the people that I work with and, put something in there about lending and title and how much they love the house. So it's kind of like a love letter from the agent without breaking any rules.
Similar to why accept from us, right? How many of you are doing all of these things, like a cover letter with that fluff, with how many transactions you're closing, who's your title company is? How many of you are doing all of those things for each offer? How many of you would find value in getting a material that shows all of this stuff? How many of you just don't care?
The idea, please do that.
For that to happen, I would love anyone and any team that would like to share their information with me. And I can kind of switch it around, and things you don't want shared, I can take out, right? But what I would like to see is our market center winning in those multiple offers each and every time. And, I can send an email with this as well, and then we can add some of the other verbiage of what can make your offer win above everyone else's offer for your buyer. And I know we talk about price a lot, but that's not the only thing that wins offers. Right? So if anyone has things that they're like, this really worked for me, can you please send that to me so that I can share it with the rest of the office if you didn't share today, and I would probably forget anyways, all of the things. And then we'll get something out in the next few days to everyone. Is that fair? Any questions around this at all? Any topics that you really want information on from this list? No, got it. All right, wants and needs.
Got a buyer need for a distressed property, cash buyer can close whenever, under 500, let us know what you got. Anywhere in the Twin Cities.
Anywhere.
Literally anywhere.
That's what he said.
Like single family duplex, anything.
Anywhere. Under 500, that needs a lot of work. Better.
Mark Minneapolis.
Door knock. People. All right, what else? What else we got?
We have a townhouse in Chaska coming up. It'll be 400,000, 2 bath,
Lake.
Okay,
I've got a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. It's in a 55+ community at the Shorewood Ponds neighborhood in Excelsior/Shorewood. Probably in the next 3 weeks or so coming up. Apparently it's a really based on the gossip in the neighborhood and the amount of phone calls I've gotten over it. It's a very hard neighborhood to get into and there's going to be a ton of interest. So I wanted to let anyone here know if they have someone looking, reach out to me.
Right, how much?
Well, the recent comps are between 390 and 420, so
What
we
are the
haven't nailed down the
association
price.
dues?
I think it was 400 a month. They cover snow removal, all the basic stuff, all one level living. It's right off Eureka and Highway 7,
How big?
1,400 square feet.
Is it updated?
Yeah, I mean, it was built in 2000. It's in great shape. I mean,
he's like, I'm gonna slightly work around that question.
no, I mean, it's in great shape.
For sure.
What else we got?
My Golden Valley one comes on the next Thursday, 3/3. 5:35. That doesn't work for your buyers.
All right, get your wants and needs. What time do you want those, Lydia? 2 o'clock, and she will get those out in an email. Otherwise, have an awesome day and rest of your week.
See you at 4 o'clock today.